Dr. Dilip Abayasekara has trained and inspired thousands of people in many different industries. One of his favorite quotes is, "If you want to change your world, don't wait for the world to change. Just look at the old world with new eyes." Dr. Abayasekara has helped thousands of people discover their new eyes through his customized speech coaching seminars, workshops in the area of communication and presentation skills, creative thinking, relationship building, and his inspirational keynote speeches. Dr. Dilip Abayasekara was born and raised in Colombo. He attended college in the USA and he earning an AA at Palm Beach Junior College, a BS in chemistry at the University of Florida, and a PhD in organic and polymer chemistry at Virginia Commonwealth University. After working for 12 years as an industrial scientist, he surrendered to his vocation, connecting and influencing and enriching others through the power of the spoken word. Dr. Dilip was twice a finalist at Toastmasters International World Championship of Public Speaking, placing second in 1992. He is among a small number of Toastmasters who have received accreditation from Toastmasters International for professional level speaking skills and outstanding contributions in public speaking. In 2005-2006, he served as International President of Toastmasters with the theme 5-Year Voice, Serve Your World. So it is my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Dilip Abayasekara to address you.
Good evening, Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Oh, it's great to be here. It's great to hear your voices coming back at me. Let me see who's here. Who is from the University of Moratuwa? Who is here from Moratuwa? Wonderful. From Panadura? Wow. Lyceum Panadura? Yes. And who are our guests visiting who are not Toastmasters yet? We have a few. Wonderful. Mr. Balraj and Toastmaster Kapila and I have really been looking forward to meeting you. Just about, probably in 2006 and definitely after that, Mr. Balraj and I talked about the importance not only of planting Toastmasters in Colombo, where there already was a club, but also taking the message out. Because the message of Toastmasters is for all people. And I told my dear friend Balraj that one day when I come to Sri Lanka, I would love to go out with you and visit clubs in the outstations. Especially so when the club started spreading. Kapila Bandara kindly stepped in and he did all the planning, the organizing, the telephone calling, and getting the routes and the locations for the meetings so that this has become a reality. One of the highlights of me coming here has been not only speaking at Ovation 2015, but also going around and meeting Toastmasters from places as far away as Anuradhapura and Ratnapura, Kandy, Gaur, what else? Mathura. See, and then we are here meeting you so that we can say, yes, the message is getting out there, and I want to make sure that you realize that you are important to the Toastmasters movement. It doesn't matter where you are from, or who you are, what your title is. What matters is you are a human being who is reaching out to discover your potential and then eventually making a difference for others because of who you become as a Toastmaster. Perhaps it might be helpful for you to find out a little bit more about myself than what Toastmaster Tilini so kindly read at the introduction. When I was at Royal, I was interested in speech and communication. But anyone who has taken an education here in this country, especially in those days, will know that we never thought about speech and communication as something to be followed and studied and excelled in. You either went into a science stream, or the math stream, or the art stream. That was it. But I was interested in speech. As a child, I studied speech. In fact, there was another little boy in my neighborhood. He and I would practice writing speeches and giving speeches to each other. That's strange, isn't it? I never thought it was strange. It was natural. Then at Broad College, I joined the English debating team. I loved it. I memorized speeches given by famous people. Why? Just because I found it fascinating. When I was a little boy, Martin Luther King Jr. gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. I memorized large portions of that, and I used it as a training. But I didn't know that I would use it. I memorized Abraham Lincoln's inaugural speech, the first one, and the second one, and the Gettysburg Address. These were natural for me, but I never understood why I was doing, only that I was finding joy in it. But I had to be practical, right? Raised in Sri Lanka, I had to think of studying or following an occupation that would pay the bills and help me support a family. So I always put that on the side and said, but what am I really going to study? I liked chemistry, so I stayed in chemistry, went on to get a doctorate, worked as an industrial scientist. Then one day my wife said, look, there is this little notice in the newspaper. This was in St. Louis, Missouri. It says, the South County Toastmasters meets at this location on such and such a day at this time. The public is welcome to attend. And I had heard about Toastmasters, that they're a group of people who get together to give speeches to each other. I thought, oh good, I can get up and give speeches. Again, I didn't realize that I was an oddball. I went there. I loved everything about it. I thought, wow, to be able to do this on a regular basis, what a gift. I didn't join there, I joined another club close by because they met on a different day at a different time that fit my schedule. And since then, since March 18th, 1986, I have been a Toastmaster. Wherever I went, wherever I was relocated, I found a club. And something interesting happened. Initially, I was just going for the fun of it. Then I started to test my skills. I started competing. And as I competed, and let me pause here and ask, how many people here have competed in speech contests? Let me see your hands, please. Good, good. There's a sizable number, and I hope all of you will go through that experience. As I competed, I found I was sharpening my skills. I was getting better, faster than if I only gave manual speeches. But I was still a scientist. Happy doing that. But then in 1992, something interesting happened. I placed second at the World Championship of Public Speaking, and the newspapers wrote articles about me. And then my phone started to ring, and people asked me, would you please come to our club and deliver a speech or deliver a workshop? People who are not Toastmasters were calling me and asking me to come and deliver a keynote speech or do a training program. A local college called me and asked me whether I would set up an adult education program on public speaking. Soon people started asking me, would I coach them privately? Because they didn't want to go take a seminar, they wanted one-on-one coaching. Then they started asking me, how much do you charge? I said, what? There's money in this. People are willing to pay me for something I do just for the joy of it. See, then I realized, you know what? There is money in this. If there is money in it, it means people value it and people want it. People will pay for it because they want to improve it. So I started a side business. During the day, 8 to 10 hours a day in a lab. During the evening, I'm a speech coach and a trainer on Saturdays and Sundays. Then it spilled over into my work. I started giving speech crafts at my workplace. Went to the plant managers. I ran 4 speech crafts, one after another. People started asking me to coach them. Then my boss, who fortunately was very open-minded. He said, Dilip, I know you are really good at this. Perhaps you could help our department. Would you coach our engineers and scientists before they go out to make a presentation? Would you coach them so that they will shine and make our department look good? I said, of course, I would love to do that. And soon, during lunchtime, I was doing lunchtime seminars in communication. But still, I was a scientist. But meanwhile, my business started to grow and grow and grow. One day, this was one of those turning points in my life. You know what a turning point is? When you're going like this, everything is fine, and then something happens and you start seeing life differently. I was invited to New York City to give a seminar at the Toastmasters District 46 conference. They had about 300 people in that ballroom in the hotel. I delivered that seminar with my usual joy and power and love. And at the end of that seminar, during the break, a lot of people came up to talk to me. And I noticed an elderly couple. They were back. They were way back. They were trying to get in there, but there were too many people. So I told myself, I must make it a point to talk with those folks. But they didn't wait for me. They passed a note up. Please pass this on to Dilip. And it came up to me all the way up. I received it. I opened it. And this is what it said. It said, your message today was a powerful impetus for us to move on with our lives. We would like our 20-year-old son to hear that message. Would you please send us a tape with the address? I looked at this and thought, what? Is that important? Of course, I met with them, talked with them. I drove back home. On that 3.5-hour drive back home, I pulled that note out again. I looked at it. Said, your message today was a spiritual impetus for us to move on with our lives. We would like our 20-year-old son to hear it. Would you please send us a tape? I said, this is better than a paycheck. Why? Because I suddenly realized I was adding value to the lives of people. And I was discovering what speaking is all about. Speaking is not about you, it's not about me. Speaking is about the value the speaker gives to people. You see, you yourselves are investing your time and energy in coming here, right? How many people do we have? Maybe 40 people, maybe more. You'll invest 2 hours maybe here, right? Maybe 3 hours, they say 3 hours, counting the travel time. 40 times 320 hours of valuable human time invested. For me, that is a responsibility. I must make sure I give value to you so that your time is well spent. You came because you are interested in your own development. You believe that you are worthy of something. You want to discover who it is that you are. Discover your potential, live up to it. You see something in Toastmasters. Using Dhananjay's line, I see something in you. I don't know what it is, but I see something in you. You see something in Toastmasters. But what you suspect you see in Toastmasters is really a mirror reflection. It's like looking into a mirror. And you are seeing the power of human potential slowly being discovered by the art of expressing yourself. Dr. Ralph Smedley, our founder, said, speech training leads to self-discovery. How many of you have given a speech, icebreaker or otherwise? Let me see. How many of you have given 10 or more speeches? Now look around you, and I asked you to consider, have you found out that when you prepare a speech and you work hard at preparing a good speech, I'm not talking about speech at the traffic light or on the way to your club meeting. I'm talking about a carefully thought out, well-constructed speech that has content, substance, and meaning. Have you found out that when you prepare that, you have to dig deep into your own heart? And as you dig deep, you start discovering something about yourself. Then it should click. This is why Arunasalam said, speech training leads to self-discovery. And as you discover something about yourself, you discover that you are a person who has a message to give other people. You are a person who has a message to give other people, a message of value. But as you give more value, you discover your own self-worth. And this is what happens, and I think it's really amazing part of this, the magic of Toastmasters. As you discover more about yourself and your self-esteem builds up, your self-confidence builds up, you start looking at other people differently. You start looking at the old world with new eyes. And then you look at other people and see people of inestimable value. This is why it is easy to live up to the core values of Toastmasters. Integrity, service to the member, respect for the individual, and excellence in everything you do. So what happens as the change inside you starts being expressed as a change to the way you look at other people and the way you work with people. And when that happens, the magic of Toastmasters has descended upon you. A group of people become a family. A community of people become a force for good in their society. And if we do that enough, we will not only change our communities and societies, we will change our country. This is the power of Toastmasters. And you have embarked on it. And for those who are guests, I ask you to look at the next portion of my presentation, which is about Toastmastering, and put my comments into context and ask, is this something that could benefit me? Our guests, may I see your hands again? Guests, non-Toastmaster guests? Okay. Would you consider what I'm saying and ask, is this something that would benefit me? Would you say that? Nod your head? Wonderful. What I put together here is called a mind map. That you see there's a central symbol, and from that there are major branches going on and sub-branches. In the center you see the words 5 keys to clubs, S and H. S stands for success, H stands for happiness. 5 keys to clubs, success and happiness. May I see who the club officers are in all the 4 clubs? All club officers, would you please raise your hands? Good. You are the catalyst for change in your club. As a catalyst for change, the message I share, of course it's for everyone, but you especially, I ask you to consider what I'm sharing and jot down ideas you get as I continue. Write those ideas down. There's an old saying that the strongest memory is still weaker than the most diluted ink. That is, write it down. Don't depend on your memory. Write it down if it's important enough. And then look at it. Look at it 24 hours from now, 48 hours from now. Look at it next week and ask, how can I apply these principles to my club to help my club grow and prosper? Let's start. On the upper right hand side, you see the word mission. See the blue line, mission. And then underneath the green line, leadership. Then the orange line, meeting excellence. Then the pink line, NPR. And then the dark blue line, mentoring. We are going to go clockwise, alright? Let's start with mission. It says TI secret. What is the Toastmasters International secret? The secret of Toastmasters success began with a gentleman named Ralph Smith. As some of you know, he was the founder of Toastmasters. He was a YMCA secretary. And Rasmeti was bothered by the fact that many men in the YMCA did not know how to speak well. They did not know how to organize a speech, how to give an award, receive an award, how to make a business briefing, how to run a meeting. All the things that you learn in Toastmasters now that we take for granted, there was no such thing. And you realize, most people don't learn these things in school, college, university, anywhere. They go into work after schooling, and then they discover they are in positions where they have to speak, they have to lead, they have to run meetings, and they don't know how to do it well. Why don't we put a group of people together to learn it? But then he asked, but how do people learn? How do people learn? And how do people learn best? Rasmeti didn't have a PhD in education, but he was a PhD in educational psychology. He studied this and he discovered that people learn best when they do. Ask a simple question. How does someone learn to ride a bicycle? Is it by reading a book about bicycles? Or is it by actually getting on a bicycle and riding it, even if they fall a few times? Right? So he said, what I must do is get people to get up in front of a group and speak. But then he said, but that won't happen, because most people are afraid to speak. Right? There's a book of List that was published a few years ago. He said, there are 3 major fears in life. One was the fear of snakes, one was the fear of dying, and what was the biggest fear? Can you guess? Yes, the fear of standing in front of a group and speaking. So he said, oh, so that means that people would prefer to be in the casket than give the eulogy. He said, then how can I lower this stress? How can I lower the fear that people feel about standing in front of a group and giving a speech? He studied some more. He said, according to all the research, people learn best when they feel supported. That is, when they feel that people are not judging them, but people are supporting them. Good. So he studied some more. He looked at how children learn. Anyone has a little child or knows a little child? Nieces, nephews? Yes. Many of us do, right? Watch how they play. Watch how they learn. Now here in Velavatta, my niece has a little baby boy, 2 years old. Oh, he just loves to explore his world. The other day I was having a meal with my niece and her husband, and the baby, who had gone into the bedroom where I'm staying, came back with my cell phone, and the baby had started the cell phone just by poking it and showed it to me and said, Angry Birds, Angry Birds, because I had it from my cell phone. That's how babies learn. They experiment, they have fun. So Rasmeti said, how about creating an atmosphere where people have fun? They feel supported, and then they'll be willing, because the fear has gone down and they feel that people are with them, not against them, they'll be willing to speak. So he set these principles in the very first Toastmasters club at Santa Ana, California, the YMCA. That club became so successful that soon people from other places, other cities were coming to attend their club meeting. And then the question, Mr. Smedley, would you allow us to repeat what you've done here in Santa Ana, in our city? And Rasmeti said, of course. That's the biggest compliment I can have, that you want to repeat the successful experiment I've run here. So he spread to another city, then another city, then another city. Then people in Canada asked to have that. Then people in the United Kingdom, then Australia, then New Zealand. It went on like that, so that soon we had an international movement. I call it a movement, not an organization, because it was moving, rapidly growing. It was into this movement that I came and I discovered the power that it was having on human lives. I caught the fever. I went into leadership. And then in 2003, I received an email from a club I had never visited. It was from the Colombo Toastmasters Club. The president was someone I had never met before. One Mr. Balraj Arunasalam. They said, we understand you're the third vice president of Toastmasters. Would you consider coming to Sri Lanka? And when I saw that, I said, consider? I would love to. I contacted the president of Toastmasters International, contacted the executive director. They were 100% behind. They said, you know, we've never done this, but maybe this is what we need to get Toastmasters growing in Southeast Asia. So they gave their blessing, and the Colombo Toastmasters sponsored my visit. And at that time, I didn't know it. I thought there were several clubs there. It was just one club. There were 3 clubs in Sri Lanka, but the Colombo Toastmasters organized this visit, and for the first time, I saw what outstanding organization is within a club. They organized it as if they were already a district. We had, I believe Mr. Balraj said I gave 23 workshops. They had me working, but that's what I came for. We had TV interviews, radio interviews, newspaper interviews, workshops. We had, what was that thing? Yeah, we had the training and we had a banquet. Important people in Colombo were invited to it. And soon people started discovering this thing called Toastmasters. And I left some ideas with Mr. Balraj and some other leaders. Kapila Mandara was one of those leaders who was there. He was the president of the Sri Lanka Airlines Toastmasters Club. So these pioneer leaders took those ideas I gave them and started reaching out to our neighbors in India and formed a provisional district called District 82. And with that district formed, they received all the training, they started receiving the resources that a district provides in order to get the word out and build Toastmasters. You are here because those leaders took to heart the possibilities and the potential I shared with them. But the Toastmasters' secret is that it always begins at the club. At the club. Because the club is the place where we nurture our members and give them the Toastmasters program. You notice that I have underneath the TI secret SPF. I have talked about these ideas. What do you think S stands for? S stands for supportive. Does your club have the supportive factor? P stands for positive. F stands for, who can guess that? Speak out. Try it. These Toastmasters, you can speak out. What's that? Foundation, you're close. Close to the foundation is the word fun. Okay? Fun, nothing complicated. I know we have university lecturers here, but excuse me, I have to use simple words. Supportive, positive, fun. If someone asks me, well, Dilip, I'd like you to come and see what's going on in my Toastmasters so that we can improve it. I asked a number of questions about the membership growth, how they did on their DCP, the Distinguished Club Program and all that. But then I asked, tell me, do you have fun at your meetings? If you say, oh yes, we always have fun, then I said, you're probably fine. If you're having fun, that means people are learning, people feel supported, people feel together, people enjoy coming, they smile. After all, it's one of the few places in the world, just for coming and standing up to give a speech, people applaud you. Even if your speech was not good, people still applaud you. Right? And you receive feedback. Usually the only feedback we get in life are the things that we did wrong. We are conditioned to think that if I do something right, No news is good news, right? That I will only hear if I do something wrong. But in Toastmasters, we go out of our way to find out something you did right and tell you. I had a situation once where someone was a new member just gave a terrible speech, and I had to think, what the heck do I say? What can I say positive? Then I found something positive to say. You know what that was? That person, although they were terribly scared of speaking, screwed up their courage and came and stood and gave a speech knowing that it wasn't good. They were like the child who gets on a bicycle knowing that they don't know how to ride, but they're willing to try. And when they fall, someone picks them up. And that was my job as an evaluator. And then give a few pointers they might take to heart, and then always leave them feeling encouraged. So in Toastmasters, we learn the art of human relations. We learn how to build people up, not tear people down. SPF. Ask yourself, how can I increase the SPF factor in my club? Now I need to move on a little faster. C&L opportunities is the third sub-branch of the mission. C stands for communication, L for leadership. So we understand that in Toastmasters, the mission of the club is to provide a supportive and positive learning atmosphere in which every member has the opportunity to learn communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. See how it works? It's very fundamental, very simple, based on sound human psychology, but based upon the fact that people learn in groups, in supportive groups. People learn by doing, people learn by receiving feedback on what they did, on how they could improve, and then by getting a chance to practice again, and again, and again. And as we practice more and more and apply the lessons we are learning, we become better and better. And as we become better, our self-confidence grows. Then we say, wow, you know what? I'm discovering great things about myself. Maybe I can do something a little more challenging. May I run for office? I would like to be a club officer. You do that well. Eventually become club president. Then you become an area governor. Who are the area governors? Do we have our area governor here? Not here. Do we have a division governor or division director? Not here. Now, I want you to do this. The next time you see, I know you have a very good area governor. In fact, I talked with him on the phone today. Sherman. Mr. Sherman, when you get a chance, talk to Mr. Sherman and thank him for his support. Mr. Sherman has experienced this. He's stepped into the challenge and is doing something even more challenging. He knows the clubs. He gave me the data about the clubs. But even leaders need to be thanked and appreciated. And as they feel that you appreciate what they do, guess what they will do? They will work even harder for you. Alright? So, what you do is you discover new things about yourself, you step in, you try new things, stretch your wings, and then you get to a point where you realize that as you help other people grow, you are growing faster than you ever thought possible. Member success is the fourth sub-branch. See that member success and under that DCP. Some officers realized that they were elected not to have a title so much as to serve the members. People join Toastmasters not so that that club can become successful. They join Toastmasters so that they can become successful. And the job of the club officers is to make sure that the Toastmasters program is presented to those members, that they are given the opportunity to learn and grow and become the person that they could become. And when that happens, the success is reflected in that the three-letter word under member success, DCP. DCP stands for what? That's right, the Distinguished Club Program. The Distinguished Club Program is simply a reflection of how well the members are being served. A top club President's Distinguished Club, we'll be serving the members. That's why there are people who are getting the Competent Communicator Award, the Advanced Communicator Awards. That's why they're turning in their club officer lists on time. That's why they collect the semi-dues on time. That's why they do all those things on time. That's why they send club officers for training. They're doing things right, knowing that this is in order to serve the members. Let's go to leadership. The second branch, green branch, leadership. Every officer is trained. Again, I know, according to the DCP, you should have at least 4 officers trained. Every successful club I know, and when I say successful, that is, they're not satisfied with being distinguished. They want to go to the top, get 10 out of gold, 10 out of 10 golds. They send all 7 club officers for training. It's just expected. And if someone is sick or cannot go, they will make arrangements for them to get make-up training. They work as a team, teamwork. The club that is successful has officers who work together as a team. That means the officers get together once every 4 weeks or 6 weeks, whatever is necessary for that club. Every member is surveyed as a service orientation. Everything I've written there on the leadership, I want you to know that I didn't just learn that from a book. I learned that from being an active Toastmaster leader for 29 years. In 1990, when I walked into the community club in Newark, Delaware, I found I walked into a club that was falling apart. There were only 8 members on the books, but actually only 3 of them were active. So soon there were 4 people meeting. 4 people meeting for a Toastmasters meeting. Can you imagine that? And I didn't know many times I was the speaker, I was the evaluator, and I was the Toastmaster of the evening. I was introducing myself. And we had a lady walk in one day and said, "Excuse me, I must be in the wrong room. I was looking for the Newark Toastmaster." I said, "We are here, please come on in." She politely drew up a chair, sat there, endured the meeting, left and never came back. So I said, "This won't do. We have to do something different." Right? What is that different thing? I said, we got to have a quorum. We got to have a large enough number of people. We got to provide an audience for our speakers. How can we do that? So instead of finding an excuse, I set about finding a solution. And for me, the solution was this. I said, let me find out all the clubs around this within a 20-mile radius. I telephoned every club president in every club, talk to the VPEs, arrange to visit every club. I said, I would like to visit your club as an outside speaker, as a Toastmaster guest speaker. Would you please give me the opportunity? Not one club said no. Soon I became an ambassador for the Newark Toastmasters Club. I made sure I gave a great speech, and before I finished, I said, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you as members of the Toastmaster family to help my club. These are the days that our club meets. We have a membership challenge. Would you please come and attend our meetings? We need a core number of people at those meetings in order for them to work. We must provide an audience for our members, and we must show our guests what Toastmastering is about. Would you do that? Enough people said yes, that soon we had 12, 15, and then 20 people at a meeting. And when a guest walked in, they didn't know that most of the people there were not even members of the club. They just knew that we had a fantastic meeting. And then they said, yes, I'd like to join Toastmasters. I said, welcome. We'd love for you to be part of the family. But we did it so well that even the visiting members said, you know what, this club is a lot of fun. Can I join too? Within 12 months, we had taken the worst club in the district to become the top club in the district. We went from only 3 active members, counting me, there were 4 active members, to 39 members in 12 months. We were ranked number 1 in the district. Those days they gave world rankings. We were number 3 in the world. Not just for the number of members, but really for what we did. We did speech crafts, youth leaderships, we were active in the district conference, we produced speech champions, and from our club came area governors, division governors, district governors, and eventually I became international president. From that one club, which was ready to fall down because there were not enough members to have a good meeting. Why do I share this? To give you hope that whatever your circumstance, there's a solution. You can either go for the reason why you cannot win, or you can find a solution. It's up to you. But Toastmasters provides you the tools to do that. You see, and then you'll notice that after service orientation on the leadership, I have one brand which says connectioner. Connectioner simply means you, as members of a club, think of your club not as an island floating by itself in the ocean and being hit by hurricanes and typhoons and bad weather, but you are part of a vast continent of clubs. DTM Balraj, did you say there are how many clubs around the world?
16,000.
16,000 clubs around the world. You are part of that. Did you know that? Did you know you have brothers and sisters you haven't met yet in other parts of the world? If you came to Ovation 2015, you would have seen that, yes, there are Toastmasters not only around Sri Lanka, but in Tamil Nadu that you're part of. But you are also part of a vast system. Come to an international convention and you see thousands of Toastmasters. I remember one person who was visiting an international convention for the first time looked around, their mouth was falling open and said, I never knew there were this many DTMs in the world. Distinguished Toastmaster, the highest award given in Toastmasters. Everyone on the board is a DTM. You run into DTMs all the time in these international conventions. They are DTMs, distinguished Toastmasters, but more than having earned that title, they are in there for life. Because of what Toastmasters has done for them. And now they want to be there for others. And we come together. Once a year, I have now been at 23 international conventions, I think. And when I go there, for me, it's a family reunion. I see people, my brothers and sisters, Malaysia, in England, in Scotland, in Ireland, Germany, France, everywhere, we become connected again. Say, it's so good to see you. We connect, we are connected. And you can do it here. You just had an opportunity, Ovation 2015, to do that. And if you didn't do it, don't worry, there will be another chance. Where is the next conference going to be in? Candy! Yes! Start making plans now. Because you will find that this being connected gives you added power. I remember one time one of my friends had lost his job and he said, Dilip, I don't think I can come to Toastmasters because I have to look for a job. I said, Dan, this is the time to come to Toastmasters because you need a job. Because we will help you, we will become your force. And you also need to understand that you have friends. Just because you have lost your job doesn't mean you have lost your friends. This is the time your friends really come. Come, share, give a speech, practice for your upcoming interviews. Toastmasters is connection and it keeps us together. The next line, I've already talked a little bit about that. Meeting excellence. See the orange line, meeting excellence? If any of you wonder how to build your membership, the first question I ask you is, how good are your meetings? If you run terrible meetings or mediocre meetings, you deserve to have poor membership because nobody will want to be part of it. But if you run great meetings, then your members can become your sales force. They can invite people to come and see what it's about. I have helped hundreds of people join Toastmasters, not because I am clever in my speech, not because I can out-debate them and convince them they need Toastmasters. It's because I just simply invite them to meetings. And when they come to a meeting and they experience a wonderful meeting where people are being educated, they are learning things, they have fun, they are not afraid to fail, they receive great evaluations, then they say, I need this in my life. I would like to be able to speak like that. I would like to feel encouraged. Please tell me, how do I join? And we are more than happy to help them join. Run an excellent meeting. Your membership probably will start falling off. And your members will be proud to invite other people to your meetings because they are confident that you will provide great value. Come and see. That's my motto. Come and see. If it's for you, you will love the fact that you came and discovered something important. If it's not for you, at least you will spend an enjoyable evening. That's it. You can't lose. Be my special guest. May I pick you up and take you to the meeting? Find ways for people to get there. Lessons from the dark. You see that third line there? When we have meeting excellence, we build member satisfaction, and then we get membership growth. And we understand that run a great meeting is like what we see on the top of a pond when the duck is swimming. The duck can teach us. Anyone seen a duck swimming on a pond? Come on, because come in. Right. When that duck swims, what does it look like? Does it look like it's working hard? No, right? Smooth, calm, elegant. The duck just floats along like that, right? They say, wow, it looks so easy. Have you ever looked under the water? What are its feet doing? Paddle, 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 right? Goes on like that. It's working hard under the water. We don't see that. When there's a great meeting, it tells me that someone worked hard to put that meeting together. Someone worked hard to put this meeting together. Someone orders those refreshments. Made sure that they were delivered to the right place. Someone spoke to Kapila. Made sure the directions were given. Someone made sure the word got out to the clubs for members to come. Someone invited guests. Someone made sure that this room was going to be ready, that there was a projector, and you were ready to provide the opportunity for a great meeting to take place. You worked hard. Now the meeting goes smoothly. People know what they're supposed to do and how to do it. It means there were phone calls made, there were emails sent, text messages sent. You prepare to have that meeting. And then the duck sails smoothly. And people say, this is fun. I want to be part of this. NPR. You see the hand holding a little flower? In the United States, NPR stands for National Public Radio. But that's not what I'm talking about. NPR, in my mind, stands for Nurture Positive Relationships. Nurture Positive Relationships. That means that in Toastmasters, it's not just about numbers. In Toastmasters, it's about people. It's about people. So you ask yourself, are we nurturing good relationships among our members? Are we making it easy for members to become friends? Do we just meet once a week or once every other week? Do we just meet for a business meeting and then we act like we don't know each other the rest of the week? Do we discover people that we like being with and then arrange to have dinner or tea or coffee with them? Do we discover new friends that we can invite to our homes? Do we do things as a group to have fun? Maybe Mr. Balraj will tell you about some of the things the Colombo Club does. But what I'm saying is that we are not just a business meeting. We are a laboratory for learning and learning about human beings and building special relationships and bonds. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be going to the Greater Newark Area Club. Remember that club I talked about that almost died? We are having our 60th anniversary celebration. Now, I've been invited to speak there, but I've asked that before we have that meeting, that some of us from the old days get together for a breakfast meeting. And we renew again the special friendships we formed. We formed such a powerful, close-knit unit, I know we will die for each other if necessary. That's how close we are. One of those members is now 84 years old. I know she won't be around for very much longer. I want to make sure we get together and we toast each other. And we always remember those good old days. We have stories to tell, but we value each other as they are now. That's the mark of a great club. Not only are you learning and growing, but you enjoy getting together. NPR, and then final branch is mentoring. Mentoring. If you want to have long-term success, find a way to build leaders within the club. To make sure that new members are given the support they need. That if someone is scared or doesn't know how to do a job, they receive the mentoring and the guidance and the coaching. Because my job as a mentor is to make sure that whoever I'm mentoring looks good and has a great experience when they come to speak at the club meeting or to do a role at club meeting. And when they do well, they will remember it and they will build their confidence. And when they build their confidence, guess what? Eventually, they will become a mentor to someone else. It's part of mentoring. That is the heart of long-term success, member satisfaction, and leadership development. Jack Welch, the former chairman of General Electric, who is one of the most respected business leaders in the United States, said this, and it applies to us Toastmasters. He said, before you become a leader, success is all about growing yourself. After you become a leader, success is all about growing others. That's why I'm still a Toastmaster. I measure my success in this trip to Sri Lanka by the powerful positive effects you have felt in your heart, the messages you receive, and how you employ them, how you use them. That is what success is for me now, not whether I win another trophy. I don't need another trophy. What I need is to know that the Toastmasters movement is impacting your life. It's making a difference for you. That you are becoming the person you are meant to be. And that now you are also helping others discover the power of the Toastmasters program. When you do that, I said, yes, we change ourselves. We change our club environment. Our club environment changes our people. That affects our families. It falls over from the club to the family, to the workplace, to the civic club, to the temple, to the church. Our whole life becomes affected. And then, to borrow a phrase from Toastmaster Balraj, we change the world. I wish you all the very best, every one of you, your clubs. May you continue to share the power of the Toastmasters program, and may it change your life.
Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful presentation on 5 club keys to club success and happiness, and also for sharing your personal thoughts and stories with us. I'm sure all of us were inspired, and we want to go out into our clubs, into our societies, into our offices, our workplaces, to get this message of Toastmasters out and to bring more people the success and happiness that it has definitely brought us all. Thank you again very much, Dr. Dilip, for your wonderful presentation.